Hi, and welcome to Reed's Audio Reading. I'm Reed, and I hope you enjoy my channel. Today I'll be reading the module The Bloodstone Pass, H1, specifically Chapter 3. This module was written by Douglas Niles and Michael Dobson. Chapter 3 The Village of Bloodstone. The village of Bloodstone once knew better days. Situated on the shore of Lake Midai, where the Beaumaris River runs into the mountains to the south, it was once a center of commerce and trade. There are signs of old mansions now torn down or burnt in the fields where farmers labor. The village is small. The stone defense wall that once protected it is broken in many places. The road leads through the town gate, the wooden doors that sag from their hinges unable to close. The citizens of Bloodstone gather silently to watch your arrival. These are poor people, fearful and distrustful of outsiders. You watch their sullen faces as you ride into town. There are about 1,000 people here, all told, according to Garland and Garvin, but many are women, children, and the elderly. Although you have been assured that they will fight as hard as the men, the sight of these people does not fill you with confidence. Many of the men are armed, but they carry only the crudest of weapons, homemade spears and long swords of inferior make. A few woodsmen carry bows. All in all, not a promising lot from which to build an army. Garland and Garvin seem embarrassed as they watch you, brave adventurers, enter the town. They lead you through the narrow streets of the town, past the poor huts and small shops, to an inn. Whenever you pass, the peasants behind you begin to murmur in low voices. The inn is as rude and poor as the rest of the town, but it obviously was once a fine place. A battered, weathered, worn sign of a clown juggling bottles of wine hangs above the door, announcing that this is the Inn of the Clowns. Once the fame of the Inn of the Clowns stretched throughout the kingdom of Damara. You have heard of it often. Once it provided entertainment and hospitality to travelers and traders. It was rumored that the special entertainments and delectations of the Inn of the Clowns attracted even the nobility from far away. But it is clear that this run-down inn holds no special attraction this day. As you approach, a heavy-set man with a bushy blond beard comes out, wiping his hands on an apron. He greets you with a hearty, booming voice. Welcome, I say, welcome. Welcome to the Inn of Clowns. I am your humble host, Stefan. Stefan the innkeeper is the first villager you've met who seems genuinely glad to see you. He, at least, is not afraid of adventurers from the outside world. Please enter my humble establishment, Stefan booms. Our home is your home. Raquel, Carlotta, make our guests comfortable, ale for everyone, and bring out the good stuff. Two buxom barmaids, one blonde Raquel and one auburn haired Carlotta, appear in the doorway, smile, and scamper inside to fetch ale. See the Citizens of Bloodstone section for more details about Stefan and his barmaids. Four boys offered to stable the party's horses and carry their supplies and equipment inside. If the PCs arrive with a unit of soldiers, the soldiers will be asked to make camp anywhere near the village. They will be provided with provisions, but will not be encouraged to stay inside the village. Garland and Garvin tell the party members that they have been granted an audience with Baron Tranth, titular ruler of the entire Bloodstone Pass Valley, but practically speaking, just the mayor of the village of Bloodstone, just after sunset. Until then, they are free to rest, wander the village, freshen up, or otherwise do as they please. Information on the village and its citizens is provided below. The next section to be played is Audience with Baron in Chapter 4. The information below is used throughout the rest of the adventure as needed. Key to the Village of Bloodstone. The Village of Bloodstone and the area surrounding it are shown in detail on Map 4. The 3D adventure fold-up figures included with this adventure pack can be used to set up the entire village on the tabletop. 1. Inn of the Clowns. The interior of the Inn of the Clowns is shown on Map 4A. The inn consists of 2 stories and a cellar. There is a stable out back with room for up to 10 horses. Only 2 are stabled there permanently. An outhouse is between the inn and the stable. A. Common room. The common room of the inn is large and spacious. A long wooden bar has a number of stools before it. One long table and several round tables fill the rest of the room. 2 fireplaces lit at night give off a cheery glow. A stairway next to the bar leads to the upper story. During business hours approximately noon till just after midnight, 4 to 16 villagers will be in the room drinking and chatting. The bar is a friendly place. Conversations are cheerful and occasionally rowdy or ribald, but Stefan does not tolerate outright vulgarity. The barmaids Raquel and Carlotta are always on duty. They flirt with all the customers but dodge serious passes by villagers or characters. Until the characters have proven themselves in the village and allayed the suspicions and fears of the peasants, whenever they enter the bar, conversation becomes subdued and all eyes are upon them. Whenever they leave, the tone and level of the conversation picks up again. Once the characters are accepted, they become part of the action. A pint of beer costs 5 copper, a good brandy costs 3 silver pieces, and a good meal costs 2 silver pieces. A normal room costs 5 silver pieces to 1 gold piece per night, but the characters are not expected to pay for anything here. They can, however, buy drinks for the villagers if they like. B. Kitchen. The kitchen is neat and well ordered. The cook is a sweet, fat lady named Winifred. She has a mean way with a frying pan and is a good cook as long as she sticks to plain and hearty dishes. A stairway in the kitchen leads to the cellar. C. Stefan's bedroom. Stefan's bedroom is very messy. The bed is never made and clothes litter the floor. A wardrobe contains mostly clothes, but there is a suit of chainmail +1 and a longsword +1 hanging forgotten in a corner, memories from Stefan's days as a mercenary. A very messy table is covered with miniature terrain pieces and little metal sculptures of fighters. He's trying to develop some sort of game he can play with them. D. Raquel's bedroom/E. Carlotta's bedroom. The two bedrooms are identical. Each contain a large four-poster bed with a soft feather mattress, a wardrobe filled with clothes, a makeup table and mirror, and a wash basin and pitcher. Each of the barmaids owns a few pieces of jewelry worth 20 to 30 gold pieces each. F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M. Guest rooms. The guest rooms are spacious and comfortable. Each contains a bed with a firm mattress, a wardrobe, a chamber pot, and a wash basin with a pitcher. Each guest room has a window with shutters that can be fastened from the inside. There is no glass in the windows. Raquel and Carlotta daily make the beds, fill the pitchers, empty the chamber pots, and sweep the rooms. They politely refuse any requests for additional personal service. N and O, lavish guest rooms. In addition to all the furnishings of the normal guest rooms, these larger rooms have a luxurious feather bed, a closet, a desk, a table with chairs, and an empty trunk with a key in the lock. P. Main cellar. This is a large open room supported by two central columns. Between the columns are many crates containing supplies for the inn, such as platters, mugs, towels, cheap silverware, a saw, an axe, and several spare hinges. More crates along the north and west wall contain stores of food, mostly hidden from the tribute collectors at great risk. The outside cellar door is locked and barred when not in use. Q. Winery. This is Stefan's pride and joy. Fermenting here are some of the finest grapes grown in the valley, carefully hidden from the bandit forces. Red wine, white wine, strong beer, and good brandy are available in reasonable quantity. R. Outhouse. This two-holer is simple but clean. 2. Abbey. The Abbey of St. Solars, the twice marted, is shown on map 4b. Aldrich, described more fully in the Citizens of Bloodstone section, is the abbot. A. Entrance. The entrance to the abbey is through wooden double doors. The doors are always open during the day and closed at night. A small antechamber has coat hooks and a table that contains information related to the worship of Saint Solars. All material related to the saint is marked with a lone five-pointed star, holy symbol of the twice-martyred saint. Double doors lead into the sanctuary. A small narrow door to the right of the entrance is always locked. It leads to the narrow stone stairway going up into the bell tower. B. Sanctuary. This large room has a stone floor and plain wooden benches. Arches buttress the ceiling. At the far end of the room is the holy sanctuary, located on a raised dais behind a wooden rail. A large altar with silver candlesticks, a single golden star, and a yellow rose in a vase is the focal point of the holy sanctuary. The Book of St. Solars, a religious tome with numbered verses, lies open on the altar. There is a secret compartment in the altar that holds the abbey's treasures: a rod of resurrection with 13 charges, a ring of shooting stars, and a bag of 50 gems, each cut in the shape of a five-pointed star, worth an average of 100 gold pieces each. The abbot will not reveal or use the abbey's treasure on behalf of the characters if he is not won over to their side. Stained glass windows let light in behind the altar. The stained glass is of good quality and would be worth 1,000 gold pieces per window in a metropolitan area. Transporting them without breakage would be very difficult. C. Bell Tower. There are two doors leading to the bell tower, one inside the abbey and one outside. Doors to the tower are always kept locked. Aldrich has the only key. There are four floors to the tower. The lower floor is part of the entrance to the sanctuary. The two floors above that are used for general storage. There is nothing there of value. And the fourth floor contains two large bells, roped and pulleyed so they can be rung together. A ladder leads to a trapdoor in the roof, through which the top of the bell tower can be reached. The bell tower is crenellated. D. Parish House. The parish where the abbot lives is attached to the sanctuary. It contains a small library of theological works, nothing of much interest, a copying room where scribes can copy manuscripts, empty and seldom used, but does have mapping supplies, paper, quills, and ink, and four plain cells where the abbot and his assistant live. Aldrich has not had assistants for many years, and so only one of the cells is occupied. Aldrich's cell has a simple wooden bed with a straw mattress. Beside the bed is a tiny altar with candles on it. A crude painting of a star and a yellow rose hangs above the altar. 3. Baronial Manor. The manor of the Baron is a small keep. Its walls form an inner bastion of defense in the event of attack. Most of the citizens of town could hide here in an emergency. The rear of the keep faces the lake, so fresh water is always available. The details of the keep are shown on map 4C. The gate has two wooden doors and a portcullis that can be lowered behind it. It is normally left open during the day and closed at night. One guard is always on duty there. In the courtyard is a well, kept fresh with water from the lake. The stables are currently occupied by 6 horses. There is room for 12. Two stable boys live in the small room above the stables. There is hay in the loft for 2 weeks' feed for the horses. A. Antechamber. The door leading from the outside into the antechamber is normally closed and locked. One guard is always on duty there. There is a guest book on a table next to the door. B. The Great Hall. The Great Hall is the throne room and main audience chamber for the Baron. Once it was an extremely luxurious place, but the tapestries are dusty and old, and most of the furnishings have lost their luster. Suits of armor with the baronial crest, a bent argent with 3 gems, gulls on a field azure, stand guard with halberds. They are rusty. There are 2 chairs on a raised dais at the far end of the hall. They are made of wood adorned with needlepoint and look uncomfortable to sit on. C. State Dining Room. The formal dining room has a long oaken table with 40 chairs arrayed about it. The china is old, but of finest quality. A few pieces show cracks. Cabinets display the silver and china service of the Baron. Much is missing, stolen by the bandits. D. Kitchen. The kitchen has a huge fireplace with a spit in it, and many tables on which food can be prepared. A variety of cooking implements and sharp knives line the walls. A secret door, invisible from the outside of the castle, visible from the inside of the kitchen, leads to the lake behind the castle. E. Red Sitting Room. This is one of the 2 private audience chambers of the Baron. The walls are paneled in mahogany. The furnishings are predominantly red. The room is very tasteful, but fraying at the edge in the way of genteel poverty. F. Study. This is the private study and library of the Baron. Like the other former rooms, it shows signs of good taste and once great wealth, long ago. The bookshelves contain works on history, natural history, and mythology. The sage Quillen is also the librarian and is the only person besides the Baron who has free access to this room. The Baron does not normally invite outsiders here. G. Servants' quarters. The baronalmancy now has only 5 servants, so only 5 of these rooms are occupied. As shown on the map, the servants can move through their own private corridors to any point in the castle. All doors from the main area leading into the servants' area are considered concealed doors. From the other direction, they are normal doors. H. Guest quarters. There are 3 small suites for the use of honored guests located on the first floor. Each consists of a small sitting room with a table and 2 chairs, and a bedroom that is identical to a lavish guest room at the end of the clowns, although the furnishings and the wall hangings are of much better quality. A bell cord in the sitting room will summon a servant or guard in 2 to 7 rounds. Cabinet offices. These offices once housed such functionaries as the Minister of the Trade, the Office of the Privy Purse, and the Baronal Exchequer. Now, the offices have empty desks and old records. They are dusty and filled with cobwebs. Cabinet room. This conference room was once used by the Baron to meet with his ministers, but with the elimination of most government functions, this room, like the government offices, was closed up. Blue sitting room. This room is identical to the red sitting room except for the predominant color. L. Baron's private quarters. This three-room suite is the private residence of the Baron. The bedroom has a large bed, a chest of 4 drawers, a footlocker, a table and 4 chairs, a wardrobe, and a tapestry of a battle scene. On the wall are crossed swords over a shield containing the baronial crest. The private study contains 2 large padded chairs, a writing desk, and a liquor cabinet containing 6 unopened bottles of red wine. The sitting room contains a small breakfast table with 4 chairs. Family private quarters. There are 4 3-room suites for the family members. One is occupied by Lady Christine, the Baron's daughter. The others are vacant. Lady Christine's room is beautifully appointed. It contains a small ivory statue of a woman picking flowers, 2 silver candlesticks, and a set of silver combs and brushes. The bed is canopied and covered in silk. She has a private study and sitting room like her father's. Tower. The tower is mostly occupied by a stone spiral staircase. There are 3 stories to the tower. There are quarters for 2 guards on the bottom level. The middle and upper levels are used for storing military supplies. A ladder on the upper store leads to the roof. There is an astrolabe on the roof that is used by Quillen to make astrological observations from time to time. 4. Blacksmith. Olaf the town smithy is a 3rd level fighter with 18 strength but otherwise average abilities. His smithy is small but well run. In addition to shoeing horses, making plows, and other traditional applications of the blacksmith arts, he is competent to make and repair basic armor and weapons. 5. General Store. Jeff and his wife, Katrine, run the town general store. All non weapon items listed in the player's handbook are available here at normal prices, until or unless the villagers are won over to the characters. Jeff and Katrine insist on payment for anything they supply. The Baron can requisition supplies from them without payment, but they strongly protest any such action. If they end up supporting the characters, they open their store to the service of the cause, believing that the freedom of their village is more important than their personal wealth. 6. Bakery. Benjamin, the town baker, is assisted by his wife Anna and their 6 children. They bake delicious bread and their pies are incredibly good. 7. Butcher. Harold, the butcher, is a temperamental man who drinks a lot. Whenever he is encountered, make a reaction roll without any modifiers whatsoever. Depending on the day, his mood can range from actively belligerent to enthusiastically friendly. 8. Fletcher. Jameson makes bows and arrows of good quality. He also raises hunting falcons in a shed in the back of his house. He is secretly a 6th-level assassin who reports happenings in the village to the bandit army. His falcons have been druidically trained to carry messages to and from the bandit camp. See Citizens of Bloodstone for more information about Jameson. 9. Tanner/leatherworker. Baird, the tanner, is an immensely fat, bearded man with an incredible tolerance for drink, which never seems to affect him. Whenever he is not at work, he can be found at the end of the clouds. He flirts outrageously with Raquel and Carlotta, who respond in kind, but there is nothing between them. Baird is a happily married man. 10. Carpenter. The town carpenter, Curtis, is a perfectionist and does beautiful, detailed work. Although his work is usually timely, he cannot be hurried, feeling that anything that is worth doing at all is worth doing exactly right. He can build almost anything out of wood, given the time. 11. Tailor/weaver. Felix is nearly blind from many hours working at his craft. His work is of good quality. Peasant huts. There are 52 peasant huts in the village of Bloodstone. Although they have individual differences, they are mostly 1-room or 2-room huts occupied by a single peasant family. Their furnishings are made of rough wood and the floors are dirt. They have stone walls and thatched roofs. Other stores and services. Many of the residents provide services not listed here. See Citizens of Bloodstone for more information on how to determine how services are available. Graveyard. A low hill 100 yards to the east of the abbey provides the last resting place for the deceased citizens of Bloodstone. Nearly 1,000 graves, though many are unmarked, spread across the grassy knoll. Farms and other out of town buildings. A number of buildings, including many homes, are out of town. Most of these are normal peasant huts. There is a water wheel powered mill along the river with a grain warehouse beside it. A secret trapdoor in the floor of the warehouse leads to an underground storage area used by the villagers to hide food from the bandits. Citizens of Bloodstone. There are approximately 1,000 residents of the village of Bloodstone, including farmers who live outside the city walls. The characters will encounter only a small portion of these people as individuals. The first part of this section describes the more important citizens in some detail. The second section gives a method for creating other citizens quickly so that they can flesh out the town as you need it. Baron Thranth of Bloodstone, age 60, gray hair, was powerful in youth, now gone a little fat, 5'11", 200 pounds. Hereditary Baron, fifth of his line, took over from his father 25 years ago. This was shortly after problems broke out with the kingdom of Vasa and trade routes were abandoned. The barony went downhill through no fault of the barons. At present, he is discouraged and worn down from years of fighting a hopeless battle. Aldrich, Abbot of St. Solars, age 50, 5'7", 170 pounds. Tonsor and beard, Aldrich is more lawful than good. He preaches submission to fate and disapproves of hopeless struggle. He was opposed of recruiting the heroes. If he is not won over, he works against the characters and might be thought a traitor. If won over, he becomes a strong supporter. I was in favor of this all the time. Jameson, the Fletcher, 5'8", black hair, and neatly trimmed beard. A sharp dresser and quite charismatic, Jameson has quite a reputation with the ladies. He is a regular in the Inns of Clowns, and because of this profession, is well connected with the woodsmen. Although he is very friendly and always buys drinks, there is something slightly oily about him. Jameson is in league with the bandits and is a sort of sleeper agent in the village. He gives irregular reports to the bandits about happenings in the village using his specially trained falcons as couriers. He informs his masters immediately about strangers in town. Halden, 5'4", 115 pounds, black hair, ferret face, dark eyes, greedy, not evil, wants to be on the winning side. Convinced that the heroes cannot win, he wants to make a deal with the enemy for personal gain. He drinks too much and seldom has cash. He is currently unaware of Jameson's real identity, but he can be easily seduced into betraying the characters for a small amount of money. Garland and Garvin are cousins very similar in appearance. 5'9", 145 pounds, brown hair and eyes, age 19, but not exactly twins. They are young, brave, inexperienced, overly enthusiastic, and have a strong tendency towards unquestioning hero worship. They are eager to do anything to please the adventurers they have brought to save their people, but they can't do very much. They interrupt each other continually when speaking. Quillan the Sage, age 70, 6'1", 155 pounds, long white hair and beard. Quillan has outlived two barons and may outlive his third. He trained the baron's daughter as a druid. He was hired to be a historian, but his true love is the flora of the region. Whenever he is asked a question, he tries to work in something about the local plants. Although he appears to be doddering and a bit senile, he is very intelligent and more hardy than he looks. Lady Christine of Bloodstone, 5'6", 120 pounds, blonde, blue-eyed. Christine is the daughter and heiress presumptive of the barony. She was trained as druid by Quillan and loves the outdoors. Her mother died when she was young as she aids her father in running the barony. She is strong-willed, proud, and occasionally haughty. Strangers must prove themselves to her. Stefan the innkeeper won the Inn of the Clowns in a gambling match 20 years ago, giving up a career as a mercenary and thief. He settled in Bloodstone Pass and spent his days running the inn, once the major stopping place for traders and travelers across the mountains. Although the inn is now mostly deserted, Stefan enjoys his semi-retirement. His barmaids Raquel and Carlotta are both very efficient. They may flirt with customers, but nothing more serious. Stefan, Raquel, and Carlotta know virtually everything that goes on in the community and once befriended can be very useful. Thank you for listening to this audio reading of Bloodstone Pass, Chapter 3. I hope you enjoyed and have a great day. Best regards, Reed.